Well, there's some trial work that we've been doing on reducing soya or eliminating it completely from diets. I mean, the first thing to say is that soya is a highly economic raw material in a lot of livestock feeds. That's why we use large volumes of it. It's a very good source of the sort of amino acids that we need for feeding livestock. However, despite that, there are supply chains and some demand for diets which exclude soya or reduce it. So yeah, we've been looking at that on both the layer and the broiler side. It is possible to do. You can exclude soya from diets and maintain the level of technical performance, but it does cost more, and therefore our view is it's likely to happen and be used in a supply chain environment where effectively those additional costs can be passed up through the supply chain and ultimately onto the consumer if they're willing to pay for it. What you have to do is find alternative sources of the protein, because obviously what the soya is providing you is with the protein and the amino acids. So you can look at replacing them with more homegrown proteins like rapeseed meal and sunflower meal, for example. Those are sort of classic alternatives that you will turn to. On the longer run, people are looking at things like, and we're looking at things like insect protein. I think it's a few years away yet, but it's of quite considerable interest, highly sustainable, and there's quite a lot of research work going on. But in the immediate term, it's looking at more alternatives, homegrown proteins such as the sunflowers and the rapeseed meals, etc.
We're for the moment we're reducing soya about 50%. So average broiler feed is about 30%, and I think we go down to about 15% now.
Okay. What made you decide to do that?
So we did only some tests with few houses, just to look where our borders are, see how far we could go. We even went without soya, which is also not a really big problem. But we went back for all our farms now at a level of about 15-20% soya.
And do you notice any difference in the birds by replacing the soya with something else?
Yeah, you see different color of manure. You see different color of your feed. If you put soya in your feeds, each flock is equal with feed conversion, and the higher you go, the more spread you have in feeds in your feed conversion. So something's changing, and soya is not in your feed for nothing. So it has its reasons. But it's certainly a possibility to grow your birds without soya.
What is it replaced with when you replace it with something else?
Mainly with sun and with rapeseed.
And in terms of the cost, is there a difference in cost in feed with less soya or not?
Yeah, it depends on the market. Sometimes soya is more expensive than other times, and sometimes sun and rape is cheaper than other times. So actually you have to calculate all the time, and that's also what makes you to decide to feed more or less soya at certain moments.